is the Viper Professional Trading Room at Viper. This is a Viper Professional Training webinar, and as everyone knows that's been to our webinars or our live trading rooms, everything that we say and do at Viper Trading Systems is for educational purposes only. Futures trading, forex trading, any kind of financial instruments trading involves risk. Therefore, there's always risk of loss. You should only trade discretionary capital, and that is money that you can afford to lose. Nothing said in this webinar. Other webinars we might have, our live trading room or anything else with Viper Trading Systems, should never be construed as trading or investment advice. And as always, everyone does trade at their own sole discretion. Any questions on the disclaimer? If not, we'll go ahead and get started. This is the Wednesday night webinar, August 24th, 2016. And the title of tonight's webinar is 5 Safe Trades with Lightning and with Power Meter. And this is part 5. Should be the last one. All right, so you should be able to see my screen with the disclaimer. Let's go ahead and go to the main screen. Bear with me 1 second. I want to show you something here that I think will make a difference. I may even just go ahead and save this little chart and put it up for everybody to look at, because these 5 trades that I've been talking about for the past 3 weeks now are very, very powerful and important trades. Okay. My favorite being the predictor and the KISS trade. Those are my 2 favorites right there. That's why I taught them first. I like mid-band trades too, don't get me wrong on that, but I like them a little bit more where I can see the fibs on it, and also if it's got like, well, not taking out, you know, lightning supports, things like that, and we'll talk about that tonight too. Okay, and then the phantom trade after a trend change is another one. And then of course those tight little consolidation boxes at mid-band or anytime you want to scalp. Okay, now obviously be careful if you box in like way down in the red, to give an example, and it barely breaks the box and it pops right back in it. You may be at the bottom with the double, you know, bottom and go ahead and get something like that. Okay, but just be careful with those. I call these your building blocks to success. You pick your favorite trades out of here and then stay faithful to them. Okay, I mainly do pretty much these right here, and I like the phantom trade, but keep in mind the phantom trade can actually be, you know, part of a trend change already because it's a deep retracement, and it doesn't mean that you couldn't take the short or the long in the case of a, you know, phantom to the upside, and then go ahead and, you know, short at the top or buy long at the bottom. Okay, now I drew these also to let everybody see lightning 1 through 4. I think everybody knows power meter 1, 2, 3, and 4 will stair step exactly the same way. They just don't do it with the same strength. Okay, this would be more like a little lightning 1 or possibly even lightning 2 type setup, where of course a lightning 3, I'm going to show that in a couple of minutes and you'll see that. Now, wouldn't it be a beautiful world if you could just simply see it like a set of stairs, you know, and you're walking up the stairs, and then all of a sudden you get to the top platform and then you're going back down. Wouldn't that be great to be able to know right when to short it and when to go long? Well, that's why lightning is so important in my opinion. And also these predictors. Okay, these predictors, there's a lot of algorithm in that predictor. It's looking at price. It's even looking at Fibonacci's. It's looking at the strength of the move. It's looking at, you know, a bunch of stuff. It's just looking at a lot of things to make sure that you get as good as possible the correct trade. I think the thing that a lot of people end up not doing well with the predictors sometimes is because they don't scalp. You know, they don't go ahead and just take some coin. Because how many times have you been in the room in 2 hours that we just get monster moves? We get them all the time actually, right? But sometimes you sit there for an hour and just sloppy, choppy, sideways, kind of like today, right? But if you'll learn to really see these predictor trades, you'll be amazed at how accurate they can be. Okay, so I'll go ahead and save this little image here. I'll just go ahead and, matter of fact, I'll just save that just 1 second. Image, save as, and I'll go ahead and get this. I'll just put it on my desktop for now. I'll change the name of it later. It's no big deal. All right, so let's go ahead and get to the chart that I like to show when we first start the room. And I want to ask everybody, what type of trade, looking at this chart, would you be looking for? What type of trade would you be looking for? Okay, well, yeah, exactly, short, right? Now let's go ahead and draw lightning 1 here and see. We'll draw it even from up here, that's fine. I just want to see about where it's at. All right, now by looking at this chart right here, doesn't this look like it's just kind of consolidating around that, what, 537 area? You could pretty much draw a line there, right? But what about that predictor trade we talked about? Show predictor. Isn't there a trade sitting right in here? And looking to the left to trade the right, I like to draw lines on my chart. I think everybody knows that. You know, you got a little bit of resistance right up here. Let's go ahead and change this to a different color. We need a little lighter color with this background. We'll go with gold. All right, so I see some resistance right up here, but it's not quite up at my predictor yet. Okay, so I'm going to really be looking for a trade, you know, just somewhere. I look at it, you know, I look to the left to trade the right also, and I see these are about the same. So I'll probably be looking for a trade right in through there, right around that 40 area. Everybody see that? And why we're doing that? Because of the predictor. Okay, now one of the things, look how choppy this really is if you look at these predictors. But I'll guarantee you, if you look at this with the real chart on it, it's going to amaze you what it actually did. You want to see it? Let me close your eyes for just a second. I'll put it on pause because I want you to see these predictors in action. And I'm going to back it up a little bit. Y'all want to see it? All right, let me go ahead and show it. Let's just go ahead and show it from, this is 823. I just downloaded some information from my market replay and everything. But look at these trades through here. Let's say that you were a 4 o'clock type person. You know, maybe you had missed this giant move up. Look at that predictor trade right in the mid band. Take some profit when it gets to the swing, because a lot of times when they do that, they come right back and make a higher low and then head up some more, right? But look at that, another predictor trade. Another predictor trade right to the top. Another predictor trade, which I might not have taken because it didn't really take that out a little bit or ratchet up so that we got a little higher one. But then again, that one probably worked too. Okay. Now, once they start breaking what I call this medium swing across here, see how they're kind of breaking that and they're starting to kind of break down? Where's your next trade on the chart? Well, watch and see if a predictor doesn't. And draw your lines on your chart too. I'll draw a line there. That's right at predictor. I'm going to change this to a different color. On black, that was cool, but right now that's a little bit. Okay, there we go. All right, let's look and see. See that? Comes right into resistance. It's a predictor. Now, we don't know if it's going to roll over just yet, do we? Right? Now, let me ask you a question. Looking at this chart right here, if I was to take this predictor trade, where would my stop be? Where should your stop be? You got to look to the left to trade the right, right? There you go. Got some people getting that. That's good. All right, everybody sees this? I mean, if you put it just right above this little bar, they're liable to get you. But if you look to the left to trade the right, you can see a thrust, retrace, thrust, retrace, thrust. So my resistance is right there. Notice how they gave a little lower high so far anyway. And so y'all want to take it? You want to go ahead and take it on this bar close to see? Okay, that's a predictor trade. Our stop's going to be right above here. Where would you want to take some coin? Everybody? Well, we can take some at the bottom, right? There you go. That's close enough. Now, wouldn't that be a great trade? Predictor trade. And I'll tell you what, they're all over these charts. And, you know, like I say, it's one of my favorite trades anymore. You know, it's really woken me up to, you know, seeing these in real time. They draw in plenty of time so you can see them, and they do quite well. But you got to look to the left, okay? Because if you see a swing, you know, for instance, if this was going to still head down, what do we expect? We expect the lower highs. See, it's just jogging down. And so where's your lightning swing? It's right up here. If you need to draw it, you certainly can. Let's just go ahead and draw it. Everybody see it? See a high, a low, a lower high, little lower low, but almost same. Little lower high again, then over here, lower low. Then what do? They go back up, right? But if they don't take out your previous swing, it's just like that stair stepping we talked about on this chart, isn't it? It's exactly like that, right? Because here it is in a nutshell. It's a high, it's a low, it's a lower high, it's a lower low, it's a lower high, and a lower low. So you go back to this chart, and that's still doing that exact same thing. Now, not as cool as where I drew this on my chart. You know, that's pretty, you know, it's drawn quite well, and that's not the way prices do, right? That's not the way prices do exactly. But it is what they do if you look at the lightning swings. Let's see, so if it takes out that left previous swing, you don't ever take them. Well, you got to think, Brian, of, you know, what the trend is, okay? Like, for instance, on this chart, this was a pretty no-brainer one to begin with because, you know, see, each time you were getting these lower highs, see, even this high right here is lower than that one. See, and that's something a person really needs to start looking for, because what's the definition of a downtrend? Lower highs and lower lows, right? So you have a high. We don't have to start way over here. Let's start here. See, this didn't take out the lows, so technically this wasn't your swing. Okay, came up and tested here, then it took it out. So that pretty much is your swing right there, right? And then they come up and they test it. See, like that. They don't take out the high here, like so. And you just keep getting lower highs and lower lows. Now, as long as you get a lower high than this right here, this more than likely will head down because you're still trending, right? You're still trending to the downside. And that's really important to watch for that, okay? Because now looking to this side, let's look at it though. All right, we know that our high is right here. You know they're going to go up there and try to check it. As a rule, a lot of times they'll do a kiss trade. You know, if they were really breaking down, they just come up here and kiss and roll over. And they might have faked somebody into that possibly. I don't personally like to do those unless they thrust further down than that and then come back and kiss it, because these little bitty ones like this, as a rule, won't work. And if you wait for these ellipses, they seem to work pretty well, because our scripts know by the price action that's going on in that chart where it's trying to go back to on these retrace trades. So if you took this trade right here, you know, you got you a nice little trade, you take some profit, right at the bottom, obviously, and then you ride your runner, okay? Now where would you, let's just go one bar at a time. We'll use Object Trader in a few minutes, but I just want to show you some things. All right, where's lightning swing on here right now? Now you've got a lightning 2 that's all the way up here, okay, but where's your lightning 1? Let's draw it from up here. Everybody see it? Thrust, retrace, thrust. So really it's still down in here, isn't it? So far, okay? So you could put your stop just above there, right? And then let's see what we get here. Still okay, right? Still a good little trade. Lightning swing is right here. That's what I love about lightning. Now, I know sometimes that if you want to really ride a runner during that first hour of the market, you want to put your stops higher on your runner. And I understand that, but I'll tell you what, it just irritates the fool out of me to have something go back on me 25 ticks without taking my profit. That's why basically this morning in the room, I wasn't real happy when oil did that little, where we hit our perfect profit target. And I even said in real time, I'm going to take some profit if it just bursts up above this. And it didn't even give me a chance. It just went bloom and just dropped. So let's see, how much of a thrust do you like to see for a KISS retrace? Well, you want to see, a pretty good thrust below. I recommend, I don't know, 10 ticks, something like that is really good. Now, if you're really stair-stepping, though, that's a different story, okay? When they're really stair-stepping where you're kind of going sideways, then they drop a little bit, then they go back and kiss resistance, that's a different story. You don't have to wait on that. Because once they do start, stair-stepping, then if you miss the trade, you've just got to wait for a retrace. Okay? Now, let me ask you a question. On this chart, let's say if it takes out this little swing here, we get out of the trade. If it does, it looks like it did, closed above it. Okay? Because you don't want to put your stop all the way up here. I mean, that's giving up 40 to 62. That's 22 ticks. Even on YM, that's $110. And to me, what's the definition again of a downtrend? Lower highs, lower lows. Well, your Lightning 1 is saying thrust, retrace, thrust, retrace, thrust, retrace, thrust. That's no longer trending down when it takes that out. Everybody see that? Now, sometimes you're going to end up giving up a little bit because this could easily still head down. Okay? Especially if you put it that nice and tight like that. But that's just a chance you got to take. But if you miss this trade, where's your next trade on this chart? How much of a throw? Oh, wait, I already answered that one. Let me see here just a second. Bear with me a second. So it takes out the left. Many times I hesitate, miss an entry because not sure how and when to enter on the predictors, or maybe don't get it. Well, Diane, on your question there, I know you like to do trend lines quite a bit and things like that, and you seem to be, quite successful at it. And probably, if you're doing quite well at something like that, you don't even have to worry about these, because I think you're a little bit more into scalping. And that's a good way to trade. I can tell you this, that, for every 10 tick trade that you do, 2 or 3 contracts, they add up quite quickly. That's what I like about it. All right, so we got stopped out here. Now, where is our next trade on this chart? Well, let's look to the left and trade the right and see if we can figure it out. I've got resistance right here. Okay, looking to the left to trade the right. This is like a micro swing. This is what I call a secondary swing. So they can't take that out if they're going to head down. Everybody see that? They cannot take that out if they're going to head down. Look at your secondary swings a lot of times, especially when they barely take out. See where this closed below this swing just by a tick? Then that bar went up. So technically you only closed below this by a tick. And that negates that swing in my personal opinion. I like a swing to actually be a good full closed bar, and even the next one is really much better, and not a bar that goes back up in the case of a short. Okay, and of course you could get out of this trade pretty much on a trend line too. You can pretty much see it. A lot of people do that. Draw your trend line down through there and you'd still be getting out of the trade. See it? Even if you tightened it, like right along in there. So you're out. But look at what the predictors do for you again, though. Let's get rid of this Lightning now. Let's go ahead and get rid of Lightning and Lightning 1. And we don't need this trend line anymore. All right, so looking to the left to trade the right. I'll put lightning back on because y'all called it real good. Okay, so we have 62, right? 62, and then we have a predictor sitting right here at, what is that, 58-ish? That's right at resistance. We know that it can't take out this identified swing, so we're expecting that trade to be between those two lines. You want to see if it is? We'll find out. That's right at the line right there, isn't it? Fire that puppy off. That's a predictor trade. Where would our stop be? Right there. Everybody see that? And where would our target be? Well, I would look to the left to trade the right, and I see a swing here. That's not going to give you much because you just got in. So I'd be looking for there, and then I'd be looking for here, and then if they can take it out, I'd be looking for there. So let's see what we get. Remember, our stop's above here. Now, once it takes out lightning, where's our stop going to be? Well, obviously, you'd move it down. See that? Now, when they're that close like this, you can go ahead and put it above this one instead. Aha, Brian says the light bulb just went off. I now see how it can't go above the swing to left for entry. Absolutely, because the whole idea is you're looking for a continuation trend. And that's what lightning gives you. That's the beauty of lightning. And I highly recommend, until somebody sees it in real time, to always put it on the chart. It doesn't hurt a thing to put it on the chart. Okay, let's see if we can get a little trade on this. All right, we got in, bar close. Got a target right where we called it at 44. Now, where is lightning on this chart right now? Well, lightning is right here, but it's barely identified. Everybody see that? Everybody see that? Now, if you want to stay with this trade for like a gusto trade, I highly recommend putting it above like that swing. See, looking to the left to trade the right. They haven't checked that swing yet. So if you put it just right above there, let's see if they get us. Not yet. They might. Tagged it, just wick. Still wicked. Now, what I do in a case like that, I'd probably put my stop just above the wick. And if you see a swing to the left that's close, just go ahead and lag it back just a little bit. Look at the lightning. Let's see if it gets it. There you go. You just got you another nice little target. Everybody see that? Lightning is like a line chart. You almost don't need candles. Well, you really still do, Ed. And as far as that goes, you could draw, a line type chart, but it'd be a little different than lightning, because lightning is actually looking at these price bars like this. Okay. Now let's go ahead and see how long we can stay in this trade just for a moment. And we're going to use Object Trader in a few minutes and show you some things too. Where's resistance on this chart? Well, resistance is right there, and it's also right across probably that little swing right there. Let's see if it holds. There you go. All right, where would your stop be on this chart right now? Well, if you want to try to get a 100-tick run, you got to use lightning. So obviously your stop would be above 552. Now that's 15 ticks back from even where we're at right now. Okay. Now what I also like to do is draw lines. You know how I do this in the room all the time. I draw on the predictor. That's pretty much where the predictors are, right? See the tops of those ellipses? So let's see if we can get a nice little trade. Nailed that predictor right there at that line. What do you think? Protect some coin? Or just trust lightning, right? Lightning 1. Let's see what we get. There's resistance right there. Now that took out resistance in my opinion, so I'd probably get out of that trade. Everybody see that? Now where's your next trade on this chart though? Same thing. Let's go ahead and look at it. Let's go ahead and look at the trade. All right. Let's get rid of all the lines. I'm going to let y'all diagnose this one just like we did just a minute ago. Tell me where to put my line where lightning swing is. Well, power meter 1, Chai, is green because lightning 1 is heading up, but you're still trading with power meter 3. Okay, 18,552. Let me put a line there. All right. Thrust, retrace, thrust. Now that's a lightning swing. So if we take this predictor, where's our stop going to be? Well, it'd be right up here, wouldn't it? You might even lag it back a couple of ticks. Close of the bar. Okay, let's see if we can get it. You want to? Bar up. Bar up. Can't take out that swing if it's going to head down, can it? Let's see if we can get it. You can always go back to your secondary one. That could be your swing right there. But I'll look at this one and see if it pops up above it and doesn't take out this swing, then I'll probably short it anyway. Let's see if we can get it. That's good enough right there. Everybody see that? It hit our line perfectly. Resistance. It held it. And so therefore it's still a downtrend. It can wick through, yes. You really just don't want to close on it. And with a 4-range bar, they're pretty good about wicking. You know, to give you an example on this one right here, you can clearly see that all they did was wicked it. See, and if you draw lightning on the chart, you'll see it. See there, they just wicked it. Now, can't you also do something like this? Let me get rid of the lines. Couldn't you draw a trend line? Like right under those lows. In, right? Now, where's your stop? Well, your stop, since they wicked this, you're going to have to put your stop above the wick. Maybe a tick or so. Everybody see that? Because they might accidentally close if they had a bar go up, and they might just take you out even with a closed bar. So what I normally do, and we talk about it in the room all the time, is when we see a wick that's real close to a swing, then we simply raise our stop to that wick. Okay, let's see what we get here. Stops at 553. That's what you get a lot of times when they're chopping around, don't you? Now, if this is going to head down, what do you expect it to do? Well, even since it checked this, wicked it, you've got a thrust down, a little retrace. You really don't want to take this out, do you? So let's go one more bar and see what we're doing. That's good enough, isn't it? And then let's check one more. Now that's a lightning swing, isn't it? See there? So where could your stop be on this particular chart? Right there? Right? Okay, where's our target on this chart? Well, we got a predictor telling us where the target should be. I draw one there. That's right at the swing, and I draw one here because that's where our predictor's at. Just hit our predictor. Not a bad little trade, right? Keep in mind, these predictors are pretty good at bounces. I don't know if it's going to bounce. It may blow through it. If it blows through it, we'll be happy campers. All right? But if it takes out, let's see, resistance is right here behind us. Let's just see what it does. Took out predictor a little bit. I don't like that. You could be out of that trade if you wanted to be, because it's actually breaking a little box out of Phantom, isn't it? All right, so let's say that you got in the trade over here, took some coin at the predictor, and then rode your runner, and you're taken out by now on your runner, or you could even use line 2 on a short. See, line 2 could be a good one too. Okay, and we're going to have that availability in Object Trader very shortly, which I think you'll really like. All right, so if you're out of the trade or if you're not out of the trade, you're still in the process of what? Looking for another trade. So let's diagnose our chart. Let's get rid of everything on here, lightning included, and let's see what they might be doing. If they hit their head at this resistance, pretty much right across there, see where the bodies are and where that swing is? That's what I look for. All right, so if they hit their head at 41, they could easily roll over, right? And that's also a what? A predictor. So let's see if we can get another trade. Now, where would our stop be? Real quick, before we go any further. Swing, right? So I already know that I'm going to put my stop there, and I'm looking for a predictor trade. There's my predictor trade starting, right? Now I need it to roll over. That's beautiful. Can't take that out. If it does, what's the trend then doing? It's no longer heading down. Doesn't mean it's going to go up yet, but that is your lightning identified swing. So I expect a lower high than that, and I expect it to roll over. You want to see if it will? If we get a candle to the downside, we'll take it. Ooh, that's beautiful. Now I'd probably take it right there because that candle went down. Is that candle down? Let me check. Nope, that candle was up. This candle's down right here. That's your entry right there. Everybody see that? Now that's a little riskier one because they took out resistance. So if you don't want to take it on that candle, then take it when it takes the line back out. Let's see if it does. Good enough. Okay, so where would your stop be? Stop would be here instead because it did go and check this secondary swing instead, and you're in the trade based on the candle to the downside or the candle that actually breaks support. Okay? Now that's actually the lightning 3 swing. Notice lightning 3 is still short. Well, of course, it might not be because this is actually in real time at the end of the chart. But everybody see that? It came up here and kissed this instead. That's fine. That's still a mid-band trade. Matter of fact, for a long time, we used to talk about these trades that went to line 5 on a short, because what happens a lot is they'll make a mid-band, and then they'll barely take out the low, and then they got to check it. Okay? But see, we didn't want to take that until it at least rolled over. You want to see it again? Okay, you're looking right here. That's your swing that you're looking at. And they took it up above it. Okay? So when they break this to the downside, or even mid-band if you want to, or even the third bar down, you see what I mean? In other words, 1, 2, 3, when it takes that out, you could also take that trade too. See, that's not taking it out just yet. That's not. That's not. That's not. That one didn't close. That one closed below it, but I'd probably want them to take that out now. So, you know, a lot of times we'll box them in like this in the room. But keep in mind when you do this type of thing, rather than just taking the trade where it rolled over up here or even here, your stop's going to have to be still way up here. Let's see if we can get it. You're in. That's what I call a conservative trade that I don't personally like. I'd put my stop here instead because that's your lightning swing. Okay? Everybody see that? You want to see if it works out? I have no idea if it will, but we'll find out. Let's see. If it closed above 18,553 though, absolutely no trade. Well, you could still have what we call a phantom trade, Brian, but I don't personally like the phantom if they take out these medium swings. And to have hit a phantom up in here, they would have had to take out this swing, and even this one over here. So no, I wouldn't have taken that phantom. But let's see if this one will work out. Where's our stop? That's a lower high again, right? But not yet until it takes out this low. That's a lower high, right? Now, if you like a second candle to go ahead and close, that's fine too. There you go. Now I'd put my stop right across here and then wait for it. Okay. And if you want to try to ride a runner, then obviously you got to leave your stop with lightning. Let's see if we can stay with it. Now that's lightning up if it takes out that swing right there. You don't have to stay with this trade if you don't want to. You could go ahead and get out of it right here. That wouldn't be much of a trade, but you are showing another trade right up in here at this predictor. Which bar is the entry bar, PW? Well, it depends on how aggressive you are, okay? Because to me, if you look at this trade like right here, see you had a bar down, a bar down, a bar down, and a bar up. Well, if you were actually looking to take it when it took this out, that's more of a breakout trade. And they'll usually come back and test, see how they tested even way up in here. And a lot of people would probably get stopped out. I personally like to just sell it at that resistance. Because if it was not going to work for me, then, you know, you'd know it pretty quick because it would close above it. Okay. Now the predictor, notice that this predictor actually was perfect. It rolled over. This one actually was perfect. It rolled over, but it actually took out the predictor a little bit. But you still have lower high, or at least the same high. So you're still in a downtrend, right? Now if you want to stay with this trade, your stop is right up here at 551, right? Let's see if it holds. Now where would your stop be? Well, you could lag it back like this if you wanted to, or obviously you could even put it here. That's your lightning swing, right? Now this is that choppy stuff that we're always talking about. See how they just barely take out these lows? And you don't have to do anything except take the money, okay? If you want to take the money, I mean, you got in way over here or even here on the break. So you've actually got some pretty good coin already. And that's what we talk about. When you don't take out these lows and everything and they're in sideways like this, scalp these predictors. All right, that would have been a good one. That would have been a good one. We don't have another one yet. Let's see if we can get another one. Predictor. Everybody see why I'd take that? Take a look at your chart and you'll see. You got a high here. So you have a thrust, retrace, thrust. That's what I consider like a nice high swing. It's still lower than these over here, so it's still heading down, and it did not take it out. Stop would be just above that swing like that. Let's see if it works. If it doesn't, it just doesn't. Working so far. Bank some coin. Just hit a support level. Bank some more coin if you have multiples on. Testing resistance, no big deal. And there's your very, very decent little trade. And you're right on top of a predictor too. That's a pretty decent trade, isn't it? Now there's a lot of people that would probably be buying that at that bottom if it takes out lightning. But we're not that type of trader, are we? Well, sometimes you can if you want to. But the whole idea is, where's the next trade on this chart? Because you can already see it if it's going to stay with the trend. All right, so we have a high up here. We got a low. Obviously, they're taken down. See your little thrust, retrace, same almost, but a little lower. Thrust, retrace, didn't take out the swing. And you could be stopped out if it takes out lightning, which it is, and that's your lightning for sure right there. And I'd be ready to get back in this trade. And what would you be looking for? A lower high. So my high's up here. My predictor's here. Looking to the left to trade the right. I don't see a lot. I've got a swing right there that I just drew on the predictor. So I'm looking for a trade at predictor. So stop's already figured out right there, right? Before I even get in the trade, I know that my stop's got to be here because that's my swing. High, low, lower high, lower lows. Okay, so let's see if we can get another one. Not yet. Oh, let's do it with Object Trader. We don't even know. All right. Let's go ahead and do it with Object Trader. See, that's YM, so I'll do like 4. Now, you don't have to do 4, by the way, okay? But YM, that's like 2 with oil, okay? So where's our trade on this chart? Anybody? Well, we know it's got to be lower than this, okay? Predictor's telling us here, so I'm saying between these two lines, I'm looking for a trade. Okay, now if it busts up above here, obviously it's going to head up instead of down. And we could get that. You want to try this one in real time and see? I'll put it on about 10 times, so hopefully we can just sell it when it gets there. Look how those predictors even call these bottoms too. Pretty amazing. Do I have data? Yeah, I've got data. Okay. So my stop's going to, if I got in at 40, my stop's going to be at 47, maybe with the close of a bar or even a couple of ticks above it. Okay. So I already know where I've got to put my stop by looking at lightning. And I know that I want to get in this trade if it doesn't take this out, because my overall trend is still to the downside, right? It's still to the downside. Let's see if we can get it. Tell you what, these predictors can make a difference in changing your trading. I've talked to so many traders that say it's just an awesome way to trade. There it is. I just went below my line. My stop's going to be just right above there. Exit on close. Looking at a trend line. We'll get one of our targets out of the way because I'm going to draw a trend line. That's pretty good right there, isn't it? Now, let me show you something here. This is one area right here that you got to make a decision of what you're going to do. Okay? Notice that you have no lightning swings. Lightning is not drawing. Okay? Let's draw lightning 1 and see what it looks like. It's all the way up here. It's not even drawing this because there's no action with the bars. You don't want to put your stop all the way up here. See what I mean? Because this could actually be easily a bounce all the way to mid-band or even higher, right? And we've talked about this lots of times too. When they thrust down like that and you don't really have anything but just candles down, you want to be really careful when they do that. Okay? But let's see if we can get in another trade. All right, we know, well, we're still in one. Let's just see what we get. Some predictors have a green dot on top of a candle wick. What is that from? Oh, that's the lightning 3, Ed, on your question. That's lightning 3. Let's watch this and see. Now, I personally, when I'm looking at a trade like this, I see resistance right here at 22, and I see some resistance up here at 27. Okay, I see a lightning swing to the left that really shouldn't be taken out. So I'll draw another line. And we'll watch our power meter too, see what it tells us. Those always make me personally more nervous when I see this thrust like that and there's no zigzagging. Because when they do that, what do you think they're going to do? Well, they're going to probably at least check, looking to the left to trade the right, here, here, and possibly even here. Because that's where they broke down. Everybody see that? Let's see if we can get something on this. And by the way, when they do something like this, you can also do this too. You can draw a little trend line along those tops. And since it did a wick, see, that pretty much would be the trend line. And then if it takes the trend line out, you can get out of the trade too. You know, sometimes you'll give up on a trade too, but anytime they thrust like that, it's just like oil. Today, remember when oil thrust? What does it do right after that? It retraces. That's why some traders, when they actually thrust this much like this, they go ahead and box this little area like this right here. Now, I'm not that gutsy usually because I still see resistance here, and I'd want to at least take that out. And by the time you take that out, you've really got this trade right here, maybe, like right across there, you know, if they happen to take out resistance. Let's watch the power meter and see what we get. You have version 07.316.03. Yeah, that's correct. Would you expect a KISS trade at 530? Well, midband's not down there, so very possibly, you want to try that? That would be a KISS trade, but I'd really rather it go up to a predictor. Let's see where predictor ends up. See, predictor right now is trying to figure out, with this price action going on like right here, where would be the area that we would want to get in this trade for another possible downtrend? Let's find out. Just let predictor do its thing. Now, I for sure wouldn't leave my stop way up here, obviously. You'd probably at least want to bring it down somewhere in here. Let's see. You'd like to see a session on KISS trades? Brian, I did a session on KISS trades. I'll show you. Remind me before we lock up the room tonight. I'll show you where that's at. It was the second webinar. The first one I did on predictor, and I had a lot of people asking me to do that one again. Because I'll tell you what, in this chop stuff, predictor, couldn't you be done for the day? You know, and looking back, couldn't you have gotten this one, and you could have gotten that one, you could have gotten that one, and then over here on the long side, you know, look for a change of trend first so you can tell where it is. So you had a change of trend. There's a predictor right there. You might have gotten filled right here. This is a little tougher one because you don't have a swing, but you do have support. See it right here? And it just didn't come down to it. So that could be still a good predictor. Or, you know, if you're a little bit less risky of a trader, you can always draw your trend line. And that is a phantom trade, by the way. Didn't get a chance to teach those again. All right, let's look for another predictor. There's one. Okay, scalped. Didn't hit that one, but you could have still gotten it if you wanted because it did hit midband. That was another trade we teach. There's another predictor. Look at that. Take some coin. No predictor yet. Nice thrust. Looking for predictor. No predictor yet. No predictor still. Now there's still some trades in here, but we're just looking at predictors. Predictor. Support. Predictor. Bounced right off predictor. Held support a little bit. That's okay. It still hold that trade. And off she went. See, those predictors are pretty darn good. Now this is the only thing about predictors that, and any kind of trading that you got to always worry about, obviously. Look to the left. See, we drew the line at support. That's where it came down to. This predictor was saying, okay, it should hit its head here. And if you got that trade, it still held that support. So that's still what we call a mid-band trade. So, you know, you might have felt a little bit of heat on it, but it still looks like it worked out. Another predictor. Ratchets up. Didn't quite get that predictor. There's a predictor again right there. Stop would be where? Right under there, right? Another predictor. See there? I mean, those things, that's just amazing how they'll hit like that, isn't it? Now that's a lightning swing right here, by the way. So you want to just take it out if it takes that. Exit on close. That's our little lightning swing. We may get our target or we may get stopped out. That is definitely a lightning swing now at 19. We got our target. Okay? You missed quite a few in real time, but they are flat out amazing. Adam, the beauty that I like personally about the predictor is that you got to kind of diagnose your chart and you got to look to the left to make sure where you want to put your stop. You know, and, you know, for instance, if you got in this predictor here, you know, and you saw this over here, I probably wouldn't have put my stop here in real time. I would have probably put it right here for the first part until I got a little pullback, because they could have easily wicked that or even closed it and still respected this one at the time. Most important is that stop, absolutely. All right, let's see if we can get in another trade. So where would our next trade be on this chart? Let's find out. Let's watch for a predictor. Okay, now real quick, where can this not take out and still continue down? Right here, right? That's your lightning swing on this chart right at this very second. So if for some reason they do take that out, then obviously you don't want a predictor. Let's see if we get a predictor. Always look to the left. You gotta look at your stair step. See if we can get a predictor trade. It'll show up in real time. There it is. All right, now, what I'd expect if this was going to hit, the predictor is right down here. That's like a little bit of resistance right there. Your swing is right here that they can't take out and continue down. See what it gets. If it hits that line, we'll take the first bar to the downside if it touches our line. But remember, can't take this out either. So that's where our stop's going to be. Okay, it hit our predictor, so we're going to turn on what? The bar close. So let's turn on our bar close. Predictor, lightning swing at 19. That shouldn't be able to take that out because that would make the difference of whether it's heading up or down. on the micro side, that is. So let's see if we can get this little trade. Well, we got the trade. All right, where would our stop be? Well, it'd be right above here. Exit on close. See if it works. So in the stops, do you put them all exit on close? I personally like exit on close quite a bit, Brian, because I see too many times if I don't use exit on close, they'll wick it. But you can also do this, just turn exit on close off and put it a couple of ticks above it. That will usually hold too. Let's see if this one works out. We're in it. We got 4 contracts. Our stop's just a couple of ticks above the swing. Now, by the way, what do we expect if we do get stopped out on this trade? Because it's looking to me like it's starting to get a little bit of action to the upside. We're going to find out. It's got to hold this line right here. Let me get this one out of the way. See, if it doesn't hold that, then it's no longer heading down. Now, see, a safer trade might have worked out better, but then again, look at these others that worked perfectly. So we took the bar close to the downside. Exit on close is for, well, targets don't do exit on close. Wow, this is slow. We're almost out of time too. Let's see if we get this trade or not. I put one target right here at that swing. I put another one right there. I put another one right there, and then I'd do a runner. See what it gets. Still okay so far. I don't like that as much. There you go. Got a target or so. Right? There you go. There you go. Another fine predictor trade. Everybody see that? They work. I'm here to tell you, they just flat work. Absolutely do. All right, now, you remember where we had our, well, we already got our targets and everything, so we're good to go. Now, where would this change trends if it was to break? You got a swing right there that's telling you, see that lightning 3 swing right there? You want to see if it does? I don't know if it will or not, but it's sure looking. This, like this right here, I look for all the time. See, when you break these lows by a lot, that's no big deal. You can keep shorting them. When they barely break it like this, that makes me more nervous. So right above here, we'll be looking very possibly to change directions. Let's see if it does. And that green stealth is also showing up. Now, are we breakout traders though? No. Well, sometimes yes. It just depends on, I'm not trying to be, like a politician on that, but there are times we'll take a breakout trade. But to me, if this is going to break up, here's what it needs to do. It needs to break above mid-band, which it is doing right now, right? Okay, taking out resistance. So what are we looking for? Well, I'll tell you what I'd be looking for. I'd be looking for a pullback between this line and that line. And it looks like it's going to be long. See that stealth starting to extend and everything too? Let's see if we can get it. We might just get it. We got our lines drawn, so let's see if we can get it. Now that's a phantom trade. I missed that one. See if we can get a little bit deeper. I'm moving it pretty quick too. Now you know for sure that's a trend change, right? See it come right down between my two lines? Where would my stop be? Right underneath that swing right there. Looking to the left to trade the right, turn on my exit on close. Let's see if this works. Lo and behold, it worked. Now your stop could be underneath the lightning swing. That's your lightning swing. Didn't take it. Probably will. It's looking like it might. Not yet. Good deal. Lightning swing. Not quite right there. I'd probably put it at line 6. We're going to have that available on Object Trader where it'll actually use this actual line. Now, looking at your chart, and we got a wrap here in a second. Where is your next trade on this chart? Pretty easy to see, isn't it? I would draw 2 lines. I got a predictor here. I got a predictor here. And let's see. Let's just kill this trade for the, well, for the fun of it. We'll go ahead and get out. Let's see if that works. Predictor. Now I won't be able to take it because I'm going to move it really fast, but I want to see if it'll bounce off that predictor. Nope, didn't get it. So what is it doing now? Well, I've got it moving really fast. Tell you what though, where's your next trade on this chart again? It's right at the predictor. Let's look at the lightning swing. You got one right there. They're testing. Basically, that's also resistance right there. See the big swing? So I'd be taking this trade on a bar close to the downside. And there you go. You got it. Where would our stop be? Well, let's look. This one's a little more ambiguous because you don't have a swing to look at. So let's look over here at the swings. You got a swing right here. That's really close. So you might even bring it up just a little bit more to like resistance, this area right over here, because you got to look to the left to trade the right, and there's no swings over here. Everybody see that? So on this particular case, until I get a scalp, you might even leave it at the 12 ticks because you don't have a swing to hang your hat on. Okay? Now, once it does what we call lightning down, you'll put your stop just above the midband. Hadn't lightning down yet, but you could put it like right in through there if you wanted to. And you'd probably want to take some profit at that swing like that. Everybody see how you can use these predictors though? They are nice. Yeah, that was a KISS trade too, Brian. It was so fast, obviously, because I turned it on like 100 times, but we got to wrap the webinar. Everybody know on the Phantom trade what you're looking for each time because I planned on teaching it. But it's the simplest trade in the world, but it doesn't happen that often. It's anytime you get a trend change, if it doesn't change trends again, that is, like Russell did just then, you look for the bounce and you basically box in the little swing area. This one didn't turn into a phantom because if you would have boxed this area, it never broke to the upside. See, lightning was still heading down. So if you look at phantom trades, let's see if we can find a couple of them and then we'll wrap. Here's a phantom trade right here. See the predictor? So if you took the trade right there, bar close, would you have gotten a little scalp? Maybe, maybe not. You might have gotten a scalp though, 5 ticks or so. Okay? There's, let's see, another phantom trade would be, doesn't look like these did it. This was pretty good downtrend. Let's look over here. There's a nice phantom right there. Trend change. So you're short. You thrust up, you pull back into phantom. There's your nice little phantom trade. You draw your trend line, you can get that little trade right there. Keep in mind, when you're going sideways, when you're not doing the stair stepping, you're always going to look to take your profits at the swings. You know, just draw on your charts and you'll see it. That's why all the time in that room, you know, we'll say, you know, take your profit. We'll call these ellipses and things like that. And it's pretty amazing. But if you'll ride lightning and just keep trailing your stop, you'll be amazed how you can stay in these trades. And then take these predictors, and they do pretty well. Is that one going to do decent? Well, we don't know yet, but it looks like it. I'll run it and fast forward just real quick, and then we'll wrap 500 times. Flattened out. Not too shabby though, huh? And we could have stayed in that one because I didn't get a chance to move my stop with lightning. Another phantom trade. Look at that. Phantom. Phantom. Tell you what, they work. And let me just real quick, if you would have taken this phantom trade right here, pardon me, not phantom, predictor. If you would have taken this trade right here, where's your identified swing? Well, it's right here on lightning 1, it's right here on lightning 2. So if you use this as your stop or this as your stop, and you took this, and see it rolled over, and then you got finally taken out, and that's the end of our day. Okay? Thanks everyone for coming to the webinar tonight. Tomorrow we'll be trading all 4 charts again. I think Charles will be with us in the morning again. And his wife's with his sister. I told everybody in the room on that. All right. Thanks everyone. Have a great evening, and we will see you tomorrow morning. Adios.